Well, hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to another episode of The Unlock Show. I am your host, Tracy Wilson, and I don't know what it is about that little music that I've got, but it just kind of gets me into the right state of mind to actually do the show and, have a little bit of a jig in my chair before I get on here and say, hey. So let's get stuck in today's show. So today's show is dedicated to all you people out there who have a message inside of you, who want to share it, but you just don't feel confident enough to just switch on the camera and go. And it's for all you people that have asked me, I don't know how many times, how do you do it? Like, how do you just push go and be able to speak and be able to be confident on camera? So what I thought I would do today is actually go through the 5-step process that I actually do to prepare myself for a show and also prepare myself mentally to actually turn up here, show up, be present, and actually, do a good job in sharing my messages with you guys. So if that's you, if you are someone who wants to, in 2021, you want to grow your business through sharing what it is that you know. So either your knowledge, your expertise, your message, maybe it's a bit of mess that you've got that you want to actually turn into your message, or you've got a product and or a service that you now want to use a video to be able to share your message and get your product and your service out to a much wider audience, then today is for you. Because in 2021, I would love to have as many people as we possibly can become really confident and sharing what they know on camera. So hang about, because that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. So it's been a big week in the household of Tracy Wilson, as well as, sort of from a business perspective. So I'm going to, like always, I talk a little bit fast, so just bear with me, and I'm going to give you these tips because that is one of them. So for some people, being confident on camera actually doesn't come naturally. And I'm going to say to you, it didn't for me either. So you are absolutely not alone if you think that. In fact, you're probably one of those people that get a little bit nervous. It's like, oh my God, I've got to hit the go button or the go live button, and your palms get all sweaty. You get all clammy, you start to get a little bit anxious, and you're like, oh my God, I hope that the words just come out the way that they should. In fact, hitting that go button or that go live button practically is an invitation for panic for a lot of people. But like I said, hang about, because it's not going to be if you follow this 5-step process that I'm going to share with you today. You also might be feeling that as soon as you're on camera, like I said, your palms get all sweaty. You're like, oh my God, I'm a little bit fidgety in my chair. All of those kind of invite that nervousness to come through. And often that can be portrayed and comes through in your messaging when you're trying to either speak online, or you are, whether that be a podcast or you're doing a video like so. And your eyes kind of don't go down the barrel of the camera. They're kind of, looking everywhere where they shouldn't be, apart from down the barrel of a camera talking to you guys. So also, when you're starting to do this, what I also see a lot of people do is they start to, I'm not going to do it live, I'm going to start recording myself. And they get into this trap of, I'm going to record myself, and then they start replaying it. They replay what they just recorded, and it's like this painful scenario of trying to watch yourself back again as you've done your first few videos. And all you want to do once you've done that is you just want to hit that big red button that says delete, so that you can get rid of it and you want to start again. And that obviously then invites some procrastination and you starting to kind of go around in circles. So if being on camera isn't really natural for you, like I said, it turns out that you're not alone. You are just as vulnerable as everybody else. And there's lots of people that bring their vulnerabilities to camera and they are confident, right? So you can use that vulnerability to actually connect with your audience and be able to share the message that you have. So the first thing I want to say is you're not alone. Loads of people feel like that. You get on camera, you feel very vulnerable. You got a whole lot of people watching you, potentially judging you, and these are all the things that are going around in your head. And I'm going to share with you some fundamental shifts that you can make that will actually shift the attention from yourself to where it needs to be, which will actually get rid of all of that. Okay, so today I want to talk about a few things. So first is the importance of why you want to be confident on camera. And secondly, how important it is for the growth of your business, particularly in 2021. In terms of being on camera and the amount of content that is being created on a daily basis, it is huge. So you want to think about, or the way that I liken this is that if you were a brick and mortar business and you were in a really you were situated down a dark alley and you weren't very visible, how many customers would you get coming past, walking into your store that maybe had something really amazing that all of the people in your town needed to have, but they didn't know that you were there? What you would do if you were a business that was down a dark alley that had something amazing, you would have to think about ways that you could create visibility. And in the bricks and mortar world, we would start looking at, well, I've got to do some sort of advertising. I put signs down in the main street pointing in the direction that I am situated, etc., etc., billboards, all of those sorts of things, so that people would know where you are. The beauty of being able to do something like this, where you are seen and you create sort of this organic place where people get to know, like, and trust you and get to learn about your product, that then leads them down that dark alley, because that's exactly what it is like online. It's like if you look at a map and you see all the streets in a town, for example. If you are down that dark alley like you are online, you need to make sure that you are putting a signpost at every possible street you can, with billboards everywhere you possibly can, so that you become visible, so that people know that you are there. Video is a perfect way of being able to do that, because once you create it, this video that I'm creating today will continue to circulate on the internet for many, many years to come. And what does that do? That leads them to my information online. So I liken that to, a bricks and mortar business that's a little bit down a dark alley where most people wouldn't be able to find you. You want to think about your business being like that when you're online. You need to get visible, and being on camera absolutely allows you to do that. The pitfalls of that, if you do it poorly and you don't come across as being confident, it's a little bit like that little shop in a dark alley, and you walk in and it's a mess, and it's not very well organized, and it doesn't look clean and tidy. Then that's the same sort of thing that can happen if you show up on camera and you are not presented well, you are not confident in what you're talking about, and you're not well prepared. It's the same thing. What would somebody do? You probably walk into, you think, oh, I'll give it a go. I'll walk down that dark alley. I'll walk into the shop. As soon as you open the door, you're probably going to walk straight back out, and you'll close the door behind you, and you won't be going back there. So the things that I'm going to share with you today are going to help you to create a space where people want to come. You want to invite them in. They want to come in. They feel warm. They feel fuzzy. They want to sit down, and they want to continue to have that conversation with you. And confidence enables you to do that, being confident on camera. And when you do it, and you do it well, that will lead to people knowing more about your business, and you will have continued business growth. It will give you some massive momentum. I know this for sure because it's happened to me. So I'm sharing with you exactly what I've done for myself, and are now teaching many of our other students that are having a lot of other, fantastic results in terms of their confidence going up and their incomes going up because of the things that they are doing. So, like I said, when you're online, you're also vying for a lot of, you're trying to vie for attention, because there's approximately 400 hours worth of content being uploaded each and every minute of the day, and that's on YouTube alone. So what you want to make sure you do is that you actually, when somebody comes in, has an interaction with you like this, that you actually capture their attention and enable them, or invite them to hang around. And if you are dull and you are boring, then they're probably going to do exactly what you would do if you were walking down a shady alley, walking into that shop, opening up the door and going, this is not a place I want to be. You'd shut the door and you'd leave, and you probably will never go back. So this confidence piece is super important in terms of making sure that people come and they want to hang around. Okay. But I realize that for a lot of people, it is a bit of a challenge. So these things that I'm going to cover off are going to help you. So let's get stuck into them. So what are the 5 steps? So if you are somebody in 2021 that really wants to harness being on camera whether it be making your own YouTube channel, creating your own show, doing regular Facebook Lives, etc., anything to do with camera work, then these 5 things are going to help you. They're very simple in their form, and they are things that you can start doing today. So step number 1 is I would encourage you to practice filming yourself alone. Just get your camera, grab your mobile phone, and just switch on the camera and just start talking. And then when you start talking, you might come up with, you probably got some expertise that you want to share. So you want to make sure that you're, when you're even recording yourself, that you're recording something that you are an expert in, that you know a lot about, that you're really confident in speaking about. If you were just sitting down with somebody else across the table, a friend, a family member, or even a potential customer, that you would be comfortable in talking about. Just pick up your phone, switch on the camera, don't go live anywhere, but just simply record yourself. When you record yourself, what you're going to do is then go back and you can rewatch it. This is going to help you, and you want to do this over and over and over again, particularly if you're not familiar or comfortable in being on camera and you haven't done it a lot. Stand in front of the mirror if you have to, but record yourself on your camera and just start talking. Then you want to play that back. And one of the mistakes that a lot of people make is that they will start doing it and they'll say to a friend, hey, can you watch this and can you tell me how well did I do? And then their friend will start critiquing them and giving them feedback. And often when they get that feedback that may be with good intention, but it might be, hey, you need to improve here, you need to improve there, so on and so forth, they often can take that on board and it can affect your confidence. So I would absolutely recommend that you just practice and practice and practice and do it alone, and then replay it back. And when you replay it back, you will be the best. You'll self-critique. You will be the best person to judge, was I truly me? Did I bring enough energy? Would I want to go back and watch myself again? So practice and practice and practice and do it alone, and then critique yourself. So that's my tip number 1. Come up with your subject matter, and it actually doesn't really matter initially what you're going to be talking about. The key here is that you're getting familiar and you're getting comfortable in simply pushing the red button that says go live or record and recording yourself. Half of the time, that is the biggest battle, is like, oh, I've got to push the button. So get used to pushing the button, going live, stop, start, go again, and keep doing it over and over and over until you find yourself being able to do that really comfortably. And like I said, it might sound super simple, but often it is just that really basic task of just pushing record. Once you get yourself over that, it will be smoother sailing from there. Okay, the next thing you want to do is, once you've started kind of recording yourself and you're getting a little bit more comfortable, and now you're getting ready to actually go live and speak to an audience, what you want to do before you get to that point is you want to plan out your content ahead of time. If you don't know what you're going to be talking about on camera, what happens is you end up using a lot of filler words like the ums and the ahs and the I don't knows and the all of those filler words that we tend to use when we're trying to create space in our mind to find the words that we want to actually use. So you want to make sure that you are planning your content ahead of time. So to be confident on camera, you actually need to know what it is that you're going to say, or at least have a general idea. For me, I generally don't script out every single word that I'm going to say. And the reason that, and I actually don't recommend you do it either. I'm going to get to a section where I'm going to talk you through how to actually do this, because when you start to script it out in its entirety, often this is another mistake people make, is we start to script it out and we write it out as if we were going to write it and then read it. It's a very different experience when you're reading some content back as opposed to just speaking about it as if you had a friend sitting across the table from you. And that's the way in which you want your information to come out. You want it to be very natural, as if you're having a conversation rather than speaking at people. You want to be able to speak with your audience. And by the way, I want to say hello to a few people, because I can see Peter, Anton here, Vicky, Robin, and a bunch of other people are on today. So welcome, you guys. Okay, so When you're doing this, like I said, you don't want to script everything out, but what you do want to do is you want to start with a show topic or a basic concept, right? So you're talking about so like today, for example, the concept is, how do you build confidence on camera? So once I started building out, what is the overall concept, then what you want to do is you want to go deeper and you want to list out the main outcomes that you want to cover in your video. For example, 5 steps, my 5-step method, which I'm going through. So you might also do something similar to this. Then you're going to write a catchy introduction. So, that catchy introduction was, for this video is for people who blah, 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 blah. Then you're going to go back to those bullet points and you're going to start writing some more bullet points underneath them. These will become your additional ideas under your main points. And then at the end, you're going to craft a worthy conclusion. So what are you going to ask your audience to do from here? What can they do to take the concept of what you've spoken about today further? What would the next steps for them be? So that's just a very simple and basic outline of how you would go about creating an outline for your live or your show. List the main outcome that you want to cover, bullet point them out, write your catchy intro, add additional ideas under each of your main points, and craft a worthy conclusion. Where can people go to from here? Okay, step number 3 is you want to be overly animated. Now, sometimes I get, you got to bring it, right? So you've got to step up to the stage and you've got to bring some energy to it. Regardless of what's happened before the show, so before you go live, you want to get yourself into the right state so that you can actually be able to be a bit animated. So what are the sorts of things that I'm talking about, and why do I want you to be, why am I saying you need to be animated? Have you ever watched a video where somebody is like monotone, very stiff, kind of like very serious in what they are presenting? You feel like you want to say to them, oh man, give you a bit of a shake and lighten up. You want to make sure that you're bringing some form of animation. You're using you can use your eyes to tell some of the story. You can use your facial features and your expressions to do so. And just like you would in a normal conversation, you're also going to use your hands and your body language to help you to convey the story and the message. And again, you want to make sure that you're bringing that in spades. So you want to bring more than you normally would, because what you need to remember is that often a lot of that animation or that passion can be lost in translation through the camera. So where you would normally be, maybe a little more subdued, you want to make sure that you just really raise the energy and you bring that to the forefront and bring it to, your show or to your Facebook Lives or any type of camera work that you're doing. Because when you speak, when you're animated, you can bring your passion. And when you bring passion, well, that passion also exudes confidence. What are people attracted to? Well, people are attracted to people that are passionate. They're attracted to people who have got a little bit of, for want of a better word, I know my friend Vicky Helm uses, chutzpah. So it's like people that can bring that to the forefront. You're attracted to that sort of person. They have a certain amount of energy and magnetism to them. So you want to make sure that you're bringing that. One of the things that I don't recommend people do is I've heard this term like hacking other people, like looking at, what is it that so-and-so does and trying to emulate what they do or trying to become them. I very much recommend you being yourself. You want to be authentically you. Yes, you want to bring more of you to the forefront, more of you to the stage, right? So you're raising the level of energy. You might be increasing the speed of your voice. So you're speaking a little bit louder, a little bit faster. You're using your body language, your eyes and your facial expressions to convey your message. And you want to communicate with all of your senses. So that might sound a little bit strange because, this is almost like, I won't say one-dimensional, but three-dimensional, for example. You can see me, you can hear me, but you can't touch me, you can't feel me, all of that sort of stuff. But you can feel my energy talking. So you want to make sure that you're bringing all of your senses to the table to be able to get that message across. That's when you're going to come across as being authentic. You'll build connection, and by doing so, you will continue to build your exposure, because your audience will want to come back. They'll want to listen to you more, and it's most likely that they will share you and your message with other people. So your audience will continue to grow. So these are some really important things that I've found to be very, very useful for me, and also extremely useful for our students when we're teaching them how to, become confident and competent when they're speaking on camera. Communicate with all of your senses. Nothing worse than kind of dialing into something that's like, I'm going to say, batshit boring. You just want to dial out and get out of there. Okay, the next one is number 4, which is getting into the right state of mind. One of the things that, particularly when I'm doing a show, right? So a show, a little bit different than a Facebook Live, because with a Facebook Live, you can kind of go, oh, am I feeling it right now? No, I'm not, and you procrastinate and you put it off. When you're doing a show like this, it is at a regular time, on a regular day. You have to show up. There is no getting out of it. You committed to that. Your audience is waiting for you. So I must get into the right state of mind whenever I'm doing one of these shows. Super important. If you don't get yourself into the right state of mind, that comes through in your messaging, right? So it might not necessarily be what you say, but it's a way in which you are conveying that message. So if you're feeling really flat and down, then that's how your message is going to come across. I'm going to share with you a pretty intimate story right now, but at the moment, my personal situation has changed significantly, in the sense that before Christmas, we got some really bad news that my mum is unwell, and she's got lung cancer. Anyway, that all happened on Christmas Eve, right? So it's kind of been like this whirlwind of stuff that's happened over that Christmas break. And my mum was the primary caregiver for my dad, because my dad had a stroke about 3 years ago. So all of a sudden, my mum is unable to care for him at the moment. So where are they right now? Well, now they've moved in with my husband and I, and we have become their primary caregivers. As my mum is going, and I'm sharing kind of vulnerable stuff right now, and hopefully my mum won't mind me sharing this, but through this process, the fact that I have a show that is on a regular day at a regular time, I must show up, and I show up for you guys. I show up with the very best version of myself to be able to help my audience. And I mentioned earlier that there's a fundamental shift, right? And the fundamental shift is shifting from being self-focused to audience-focused, to being focused on the people that you want to serve and the people that you want to help. As soon as you make that shift, everything changes. Then you layer these things that I'm talking about today on top of that. So anyway, I digressed a little bit. But one of the things that I'm, in terms of like turning up, showing up, and being present with your audience, is super important, regardless of what is going on. So just before we did a book launch, very first day of our book launch, that was the day that my mum walked into my bedroom in the morning and said, Trace, can you please help me? Can you help me clean up all my hair out of the shower, because all my hair's fallen out. So in that moment, I was like, oh my freaking goodness. Okay, be strong. I've got to go and do that. I've got to show up and be the best person I can possibly be for her, help her put her headscarf on. And then within 10 minutes, had to get on a show like this and show up for my audience. So it's not about necessarily putting yourself, to the background, but thank goodness I have this show, because that was like the highs of life, as well as the lows of life at exactly the same time. So when you can show up and you can start being authentically you, and you're able to convey a message down the barrel of a camera to an audience that you love and you want them to be successful, then no matter what happens in your day, you're able to then just switch your state of mind and your and your emotions so that you can show up and be the best version of yourself. So I digressed a little bit, and I kind of wasn't really going to share that story, but I think it's very relevant because it's going to help a lot of people to understand that no matter what happens in your day, you can still do it. And it's not about showing up and kind of putting on a facade. It's about being absolutely you, being you in the moment and sharing what you've got to share because you're passionate about it. So get into the right state of mind. And if that means that you've got to jump up and down, like I have music for my show, which gets me into, as soon as my show comes on, I have the countdown timer and that music starts, it's boom, it's game on. My energy lifts, and I know that as soon as that music finishes, I'm on. So you can do lots of little things that are really going to help you to get into that right state of mind, and make sure you drink plenty of water, of course. Okay, number 5, my 5th tip for getting yourself ready and being confident on camera is to avoid perfectionism like the plague or like the coronavirus. Just avoid it as much as you can. It's a dangerous place to be, because as soon as you start to get into that state of perfectionism, you will go round and round and round in circles. You will continue to be at step number 1, which will be to watch yourself on camera regularly, continually critique yourself, and you'll never ever go live, and you'll never ever be able to share your message with the wider audience. So like I said, you're shifting your attention, you're focused on your audience, and you're avoiding perfectionism. In fact, people people prefer to be around people, I'm going to say warts and all, that are not perfect, because nobody is perfect. You want to be authentically you. You want to avoid the perfectionism. You don't want to have to worry about, I don't look as good as so-and-so. Doesn't matter. When you can turn up and you be authentically you, what that also does is it means that nobody else can compete with you, because nobody else can be you. Nobody else has the stories that you have. Nobody else has the background that you have. Nobody else has the accent that you have, so on and so forth. So avoid perfectionism. There is no need for you to try and be like somebody else. Just be absolutely you. Show up with the best version of yourself, lift your energy, and deliver your message like you're here to serve your audience. And I promise you, if you do all of those things, all of a sudden your fear of the camera will just dissipate. It will disappear, and you'll be able to switch it on, and you'll be like, when can I go live next? All right, so if you're anxious, follow those 5 steps, and I promise you before long, you will become very, very good at being on camera. So now that we've wrapped up kind of those 5 things, I want to encourage you all. I want you to, in fact, even just make a video. I don't care if it's on your personal page. Do a video and tag me in it. So tag me, Tracy M. Wilson, and I will come and I will watch your video. But I want to encourage you to do that. You will find that you will grow in confidence. And when you grow in confidence, that confidence is also going to help you to grow your competence. You'll become more competent, more confident, and you will want to do it more frequently. So, and Peter is saying, if you love what you do, it becomes fun. Absolutely, it becomes fun. I absolutely love showing up and doing this show with you guys, because for me, it's fun. So I enjoy doing it. So I promise you, if you you start getting going with this, you start to enjoy it, and you'll want to do it more frequently. And you will start to see you will be more visible. We know that visibility then leads to people wanting to check you out more. When people want to check you out more, it's more likely that they're going to want to work with you and will know more about the products and or services that you have. And it will become the fastest way for growing your business in 2021. Now, let me tell you, because part of the process that I have walked you guys through today is like, so what is the next steps? So let me tell you this. If you are somebody who is really serious about wanting to build their business or share your message in 2021, and you want to increase your influence and your authority, then we have a program called the Influence and Authority Method. We've got a number of students that are going through that program right now, and oh my God, I am watching them. It just gives me goosebumps. It makes me want to cry every time I watch them. But watching them from day one to where they are now in terms of their confidence and their excitement about sharing their message and their love for and passion for what it is that they do has just been outstanding. So I can't wait to see them all create their own shows. So the influence and authority method, we teach you the ACE process, the ACE method, which is building authority with connection and exposure. And when we put all three of those things together, then you start to have this beautiful synergy that helps you to grow your business and create something pretty special that you can share your message with a much wider audience and start to impact the world. That's really what we're about, impacting the world just one show at a time. So if you would like to do that, I'd encourage you to go and check out the influenceandauthority.method.com. And we might see you just inside of our program sometime soon, and we'll help you get your own show up and running. So for today, guys, I want to say thank you very much. I look forward to seeing you all being super confident and competent on camera and loving it. So as always, go ahead, live your life unlocked, because you don't friggin' know what's going to happen from one day to the next. Everything could change, and you want to make sure that you live your life unlocked the very best way that you know how, and just keep doing it and do it over and over and over again, and just be happy and successful at the same time. So thanks, guys. Have a fantastic weekend. I'll be back again with another episode of The Unlock Show next week on Wednesday. See you then. Bye for now.